right, so in 2016, there was 42,000 opium drug overdoses in the United States, which was a 30% increase from 2015. These are numbers sent from a study at the Centers for Disease Control Prevention, and it just goes to show how drug overdoses are increasing year after year after year. So hello, my name is Christian Torres, and welcome. I believe that the United States can use other countries as an example on how the way they treat drug addiction and how successful it is, and that I feel like we should implement it here in the US, and it will stop it for good. So first, there's an opium epidemic going on in the United States. Thousands of people are dying every single year, and the United States is not taking the proper measures to fix it. Instead, they are just throwing drug addicts into prison, and it is not working. It is, if anything, it's making the problem worse. So I believe that if we were to treat drug addiction as a disease rather than punish them as criminals, it will completely just help with all the drug stuff. So first, we must all come in agreement and acknowledge that there is indeed an epidemic going on in the United States. So just some quick statistics. From 1999 to 2015, 438,607 people died from drug overdoses. From that time to today, opium-related drug overdoses have increased by 401%. So it just goes to show from since 1999 it hit a skyrocket, and it has largely part to do to the prescription drugs. Because 80% of people who use heroin, which is an opium-based drug, started out misusing of prescription drugs, prescription opium painkillers such as Vicodin or Oxycontin. And the problem with the US's handling of it is instead of helping the people get help, they are just punishing them. So in 2016, the Surgeon General put out a report, and it said that 10% of drug addicts are receiving treatment. So that means 90% of these drug addicts are just, people aren't even paying attention to them. They're dying, they're ODing, they're ending up in prison, and the problem is never going to stop unless there's treatment. This is largely part due to Nixon's war on drugs that was started back in the 1970s. Some of y'all may remember it. I don't know, like the ages. Some of y'all remember back in '73 when Nixon implemented his war on drugs plan. Millions of people have been in prison ever since. So today, there's 2.3 million people incarcerated in the United States, which makes the United States the most incarcerated population in the entire world. And of those 2.3 million, 65% all meet criteria of having drug addictions, which means 65% of those 2.3 million people are drug addicts. And they're stuck behind bars and not receiving any help at all. But I believe there is a solution to this problem, and we can look to other countries as an example. First, in Canada, they have safe injection sites. So the concept behind a safe injection site is it's basically a clinic where drug users can go in and basically do drugs under the supervision of doctors and nurses. That way they can intervene if anything happens, and it's had tremendous success. So in Canada, the first one was opened in September of 2003. And since September of 2003, there's been 3 million visits and 4,922 overdoses with no deaths. So a lot of people think that overdoses means deaths, but it's not. You can die from an overdose, but just because you overdose doesn't mean you die. Each drug has a different, what makes it an overdose. There's elevated heart rate, blood pressure, stuff like that. So 4,922 people OD'd, but not a single death. Which is very good if you think about it, because that's 4,922 lives. Example number 2 is Portugal. So back in 2000, Portugal decriminalized drugs. They didn't make drugs legal. However, they said that if a person is caught with less than 10-day supply of drugs, which is different measurements for each drug, they're not arrested. Instead, they are given a citation, and they are sent to panels that are filled with medical professionals, psychologists, all those people, and they determine what steps should be taken. If it's a one-time offender, some of the times they just let them go because they're using it recreational. But if it's a repeated offender over and over and over, they force those people to go to rehab. And when it was decriminalized in 2000, the following year there was only 80 overdoses in the entire country. In 2012, that number dropped all the way to 16 overdoses in the entire country. While in the United States, there's 115 deaths every day from drug overdoses, as opposed to Portugal, for the entire year, there's 16. So these are just 2 examples of countries that have followed these plans and has had tremendous success. So I hope after listening to this today, you will leave with wanting to know more information. You know, if this something, I hope today I persuaded you to go out and look for more information about the stuff and possibly, you know, do something to help, because prisons obviously don't work. If they just drug addicts just get caught in a cycle and they never get help. So you as a citizen, you can help make a change. If look for politicians that favor some type of opium-related plan to help people. And if not, go ahead and make a petition, get a bunch of people to sign it, or write into lawmakers and do whatever you can. Because if we all come together, we can save thousands of lives.